Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today, for joining us in this webinar. My name is Maria Bernabé from TIC Biomed, and TIC Biomed is one of the Procure4Health founding members. So we are part of this great consortium. And TIC Biomed is a non-for-profit organization with the aim to boost digital transformation of the healthcare sector. And today, as working group leaders, we are launching our working group on impactful innovation. So this is the first webinar we are organizing of this series of webinars. And allow me to share with you some housekeeping rules. Yes. Okay. So first of all, I want to ask you to introduce yourself by using the chat. So you can type in the chat your name, organization, your LinkedIn profile, and any other information you want to share with the rest of attendees. Then, if you have any question during the webinar presentation, you can type them in the Q&A box that you can find in the bottom of the screen. And so you can send your thoughts, concern, or any question you have about the presentation and the topic introduced. And for your information, during the webinar presentation, your microphones will be muted. And then when we start the Q&A session, if somebody else has any question, you just have to raise your hand and we will open the microphone to give you the floor to share your concerns. This webinar is being recorded, as you can see in the screen. And this recording will be available on our Procure4Health community platform, on the project website, as well as the YouTube channel in 3 days after this session. So you will be able to watch a replay of the webinar. And last but not least, we are on Twitter and LinkedIn, and you can feel free to tag us by using our username. So the first one is the user name from Twitter, and the second one from LinkedIn. So you just have to look for Procure4Health in the social network and you will find us. Okay, so now let me introduce my colleague Jorge, the director of TIC Biomed. So he will be introducing the concept of the impactful innovation. Yeah, I think that that's all from my side. So Jorge, the floor is yours. You can start.
Thank you very much, Maria. So I'm Jorge Gonzalez. I'm the director of TIC Biomed. As Maria was saying, we are an association. We are located in Spain, and we specialize in open innovation, innovation procurement, digital transformation, and we also provide business support regarding how to incorporate innovation into organizations. They can be, though we are specialized in healthcare, what we are going to talk today is very, very horizontal. We believe it can be applied to any sector. It just happened that we have a lot of experience in the healthcare sector, and some of the samples will be related there. So why are we here? What do we see? We have 12 years of experience working with innovation projects, especially at European-wide, but also at national and regional level. And what we see is that there are a lot of pilots. We have been participating in some of them. We have seen how other people, they deliver great solutions when they do open innovation. By the way, open innovation means for us is that when there is a need and challenge that has been identified by a customer organization, say a healthcare organization, a public entity, even a private one, research, and they work collaboratively with other organizations, say a small and medium enterprise and a startup and technological center, together to find a solution to that problem, to that challenge, to that opportunity. Okay, so there is a lot of external funding. Actually, the European Union is one of the largest funders of innovation across the world, even sometimes bigger than the US and China, okay? So there are thousands, literally, of pilots, okay? Innovation actions, research and innovation actions, pre-commercial procurement, any type. That's only as European, but then obviously there is also national and regional funding. So literally thousands of pilots, innovation pilots are funded every year. Now, what happens? At least in our experience, we expect that 70%, 70% of the pilots are successful, meaning that they find a solution to the challenge, to the problem that they were dealing with, okay? But then what happens? So the pilot ends, the funding gets to that point, okay, to the evaluation of the work, of the co-creation work to find a solution. And then what we see is that there is a valley of death, meaning that nothing happens. So the pilot has been promoted for those participating, say the customer and the supplier. Sometimes the customer deciding what is the challenge that they want to work together with the other parts of the consortium. And even if they ask for a solution to that challenge that they identify, that successful solution does not get adopted, meaning it's not incorporated into the customer organization, meaning it has no impact. Okay, so this is the fundamental concept that we want to, why this happens and why this is such a bad thing that there is no impact after a successful co-creation of a challenge. Okay, no impact. We are wasting public money, private money. We are wasting the opportunity time that will be working in other pilots, in other innovation projects, in other projects in general, that it could have much more traction than the one that we have been working with. And especially, you know, when you work with innovation and when you involve third parties, like in our case in healthcare professionals, patients, or people that they are not directly involved in the innovation business, so to say, but they will be the end users, the one that will benefit from the innovation, and they put time, sometimes after work, or most of the time, actually, after work. So they take time from their free time, from their families, from, you know, they put this time that usually is not paid, but they just do it because they believe that a better world is possible thanks to this solution to the challenge that they face, some of them day by day. Okay, so all this illusion, all this motivation, everything is not fulfilled. So that means there is a frustration on them. Okay, and some of them, they say, okay, I will never join another innovation project, because innovation is different than research. Okay, in research you can publish, you can share knowledge. That's very good, and for some of them is also good for the promotion, either in academia or in some other areas. But innovation, if innovation doesn't have an impact, at least in my opinion, it is nothing. Okay, it doesn't count for your publications, and publication has to be impact. Otherwise, it's frustration. Okay, innovation has to be much closer to the real world, so to say, or to the where things happen day to day, rather than research. So if innovation doesn't have an impact, and it is not research, and it doesn't have an impact, it can be a hobby or it can be a way of life. But at least in our opinion, it's not fulfilling the objective that innovation has, that is improve the daily life of the end users, the citizens, the patients, whoever is going to benefit of that innovation. Now, what would we mean by innovation pilots? As I said, there can be a lot of types of innovation pilot. It can be an innovation pilot that is only done in-house for a big organization or a small organization. Innovation can be a startup that delivers or it's working on a brand new solution, cutting edge technology, etc. For the sake of discussion, we are going to focus at this point in this presentation on the innovation pilots that are externally funded, again, European, national, regional funding, and done in collaboration, or what is sometimes called open innovation. meaning that in the consortium, okay, there are what we call the challengers, those that they have the challenge. In our case, again, it will be a healthcare organization, but could be an energy facility, it could be whatever, an IT company, it could be whatever that has the problem to be solved, and the solver, company, academia, technological center, whoever that has the capacity to solve that challenge. Okay, so open innovation context, it is funded by a third body and done in collaboration. Okay, and especially because we are talking to innovation, you know that maybe you know about this TRL, technological readiness levels. Okay, that start by 1. 1 is basically the idea. Okay, and 9 is when is ready to be uptaken by the market. Okay, there's 1 to 9. So the research phase is, say, between 1 and 7, and innovation actions could be from 7 to 9 or from 6 to 9. So we are going to focus in the later, the high TRLs, the ones that can be adopted relatively quickly by the market. Okay, for example, at the European level, you have the innovation actions, pre-commercial procurements, cascade fundings. Cascade fund is basically that the funder subcontracts the delivery of the management of the innovation projects to a third party. Like, for example, us in TVMed, we have participated in a lot of cascade funding projects, like for example, In Demand, Innobuyer, etc. Okay, and again, this external funder can leverage several types of funding, European, ERDF, blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is the context when we talk about innovation pilots. Okay, we know there are a lot of different ways, but we are going to focus here in those in this presentation. Okay, and also for the sake of discussion, again, pilots can go in a lot of different ways. Okay, they can fail because the technology was not ready. It can fail because the consortium didn't work it out because of personal organizational reasons. But we are going to talk here to the ones that really made it. Okay, that they finish the project, the pilot, with giving a solution to a very clear customer need. Okay, and the solution was very mature. It was very close to market, even could be marketable sadly at the end of the project. And all sides were happy. Okay, challengers, solvers, all involved say yes, work. And actually, usually the end users say, I want this. I want this. It works. It's great. I want to have it. Okay, and everybody's happy. So what happens? Everybody's happy, but then there is no traction. There is no adoption. There is no impact. The results are never implemented. Okay, we call it internally the valley of death. The pilot works logically. There should be an adoption because it was requested by the customer. It was solved by the solver. And now the next logical step is the adoption, and we don't see that. And that's the challenge that we see. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for a second. Before moving on, I want to ask you that in the chat, you write what in the last 5 years, in how many projects you have been like they resemble like this, the total number of projects. Okay, and then how many of these projects were in this situation that there was no traction. So say that you participated in a number of 5 projects that they fit into this description, and you say, okay, out of these projects, there were a number, say 2 of them were in this situation that everybody was happy with the outcomes. The project, the solution could be marketable for the next day, and then there was no adoption, no impact. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a while, and I'm going to give you the time to see what are your answers. Okay, I don't know if you guys understood what we were talking about. I would love that you guys are. We try to do this very participant. We would love to see what is your feedback, and want to make it that you feel that you are part of it. I don't know if you guys want to share any ideas.
Jorge, if I may, I think that it's Much better if you share the slides so people can read the instructions.
Okay. Can you see it now, Maria?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Let me see.
Yes.
No?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I think that participants can see again what they have to do, or what is the activity you are proposing.
Right. Let me check some of the answers.
Yeah, we already have an answer.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Yes, the slides will be passed around. As Maria said at the beginning, we are going to share
In screen, in presentation mode.
the-
Yeah, okay.
we are going to share everything. We are going to share the slides. We are going to share the video as recorded. We are going to provide you more information. We will talk about that. We are promoting a number of other opportunities to share and to learn. And by the way, if you can put the names as Sophia has done, you can put just the numbers. What I want is that you feel that what we want is to have a taste of how many of you were in this situation, okay? And just to make so you think that how common or how many times you have lived this, that there is everything looked to be very well and work very well during the pilot, but then there was very little traction at the end. Okay, so that's why we want to reflect. So it is not us talking about this, is that you do say a back look into what you have been experiencing the last year, and from there we can share more. Because again, we want this to be very participative. This cannot be solved. This is a systemic problem. It is not something that happens only thing in Spain or in health or anything like that. We think that this European-wide project problem, actually a worldwide, if you ask me, and that in order to solve it, we will come to this. We need to. It's a kind of ecosystem approach, including policymakers and other actors. It can be bottom up. We just putting this topic on the table. We want to see how many people think that this is important. And by the way, I think that we have more than 130 people registered. So we are very happy about the interest that this has created. And of course, we are going to follow up on this. This for us, especially for TBiomed, is very important. As Maria was saying before, we are part of a project that is called Procure4Health. This is one of the working groups. Procure4Health is an European project that helps healthcare procurers to procure or to incorporate more information, more innovation. And we see that this is one of the showstoppers, one of the blockers for procurers to incorporate more innovation. What we know is how to do innovation. What we don't know as a systemic approach is to incorporate that innovation into the organizations. Okay, happens sometime. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation. Okay, so Raisa. Okay, Jordi. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we will be sharing also these comments in the chat. So let me go on. Feel free to keep on incorporating information in the chat. So some of you have experienced that situation. Okay, that's good. It's not only that we see that from TBiomed. Now, what happens? Why is this so bad? It is not neutral. It is not neutral that you do an innovation pilot and it doesn't have positive effects. Okay, it is actually counterproductive. Okay, for some people, and again we talk about the healthcare space, say for healthcare professionals, for example, It's the first time that they do innovation. They are used to do research, but innovation is kind of a new concept. They think some of them even confuse innovation with research, okay? And they start doing an innovation project, and they're excited because they see that it's closer to the reality than research. But then, and we have seen it a lot of times, say, okay, this is great, when can I have it? And then nothing happens. Their organization don't incorporate that into their daily lives. So they say basically, please don't call me again, or without the please, don't call me again for this. I'm not here to waste my time. So you generate frustration. And of course, these guys are going to tell all their colleagues, say, don't enter into the innovation projects. And then what happens is that this kills the culture of entrepreneurship in the organization, in the challenger organization. So it is not neutral, it's counterproductive, okay? So it's also counterproductive because the solver company, say a startup or a small and medium enterprise, if they don't get that the challenger in the pilot becomes the #1 customer, they become the first organization to become a customer, it will be very unlikely that they can get another customer. So imagine the situation. You and me, we work together into a pilot. You are the customer, I'm the solver. You don't adopt the solution that we have co-created into the project. And now I try to sell my solution in other organizations. So if you have been in that situation, the very first question that you get is like, okay, this is very interesting, but where are you? In which other organization is your solution incorporated? Who has trusted you before? And you say, okay, I did it with this guy. That guy doesn't want it. They didn't implement it, but I think that for you is fantastic. Nobody's going to believe you, okay? So you as an SME or a startup, you have wasted money, because usually the grants, external grants, they don't fund you 100%. You have lost opportunity time, and you have lost credibility. Again, counterproductive after your participation. And of course, from the challenger organization, again, they have been involved, say, the IT department. They have involved end users, professionals that they could do better things with their money, with their time and the resources that they have, even the money. So again, it's a waste for everything. It's not neutral. It's not like, okay, it's like if anything has happened, it had bad consequences on all those involved, the end users, the organizations, and the solvers. So what we are saying here is that we need to do better. We need to meta-innovate, meaning we need to innovate in the innovation instruments themselves, in the innovation processes themselves. So when we reach into these cases that we are talking about, a successful innovation project, innovation pilot, where everybody's happy, we need to do new instruments beyond the ones that support pilots themselves, so that successful innovation gets adopted. So meta-innovate, innovate on the innovation, okay? We are so busy chasing funding opportunities. We are so busy looking for partners, looking for funding, managing projects, hiring people, publishing the results, evaluating. We are in that wheel as the mouse in the wheel, okay? And what we are saying is that we should stop, have a higher view, and understand like what's wrong here. Why are we putting so much effort in doing successful pilots, innovation, and then it doesn't have impact? What's wrong? What's wrong with the system? What's wrong with us? Okay. So what we as a system, what we think is that what we need is to increase the impact of successful pilots, okay? And for doing impact, we mean adoption, meaning that all the funding that we put there, which a lot of them is public money, we get a more return on the invested money in terms of value for the society, for the growth of the companies and the growth of the regions, the countries, Europe itself versus China and the US, for example. Okay, and for that we need better instruments, processes, and business models. Okay, I mean business models meaning that what is what are the incentives for innovation units in, say, big corporations, in hospitals, whatever, to follow up on the successful research, innovation. Because sometimes the innovation units say, okay, my work finishes as soon as the pilot is done. Okay, so who is in charge of getting that innovation into the hands of the end users? Okay, the innovation units, okay, my role finished when I prove that this solution works. And then say procurement say, okay, but I was not part of it was not in my budget. It's not my responsibility. I'm not going to write a tender or something that I don't understand and say that your solution is digital. The IT department say, I have my budget, but I need this budget for the other stuff that I need to do. This is not part of my planning. So we need to have this kind of bridge, okay? Because we know do things. We know to do things very well because we do them day to day, okay? One is in the innovation side, as I said, we are in this machinery of producing innovation. Some of us, most of us, we know how to do that. We are in the innovation business for a while. And obviously in the customer organization, they procure every day, a lot. They spend a lot of money in procurement, in incorporating solutions, materials, whatever that they need, okay? So we know what we don't know, okay, as a system is to bridge between these two. We don't know how to do it systematically, okay? We don't know how to get successful innovation into a procurement side, as well as we have the processes here to produce innovation and the processes here to incorporate that anything that the organization needs, okay? And here, I have picked like 3 prototypical areas, challenges of meta innovation challenges that for us are kind of priority. So I mentioned before TRLs, these technology readiness levels, and basically a lot of funding instruments, they fund till TRL of 7, 8, but there is like little to none instruments to move from this 7 to 9. 9, as you may recall, is ready to be acquired, ready to be procured, ready to be implemented, okay? So there is a gap between 7 to 9. Now, 9 is a maturity level that is required to make a procurement, okay? So again, say healthcare organization and utility, whatever. But it doesn't mean that after open innovation, the solution is at 9, it's going to be procured. So that's what we call it, from 9 to procurement. And in the context of demand-driven co-creation geared to innovation procurement, there are some instruments that they are called pre-commercial procurement, PCP, or public procurement of innovation, PPI, that they are very heavy burden in terms of administrative overhead, that they, my goodness, we have been participating in more than 5 PCPs, and they are terrible in terms of writing the tender, publishing, the overhead of moving from phase to phase. So if you are familiar with PCPs, you may know how difficult and complex and time-consuming these kind of instruments are, okay? So this is kind of the 3 main areas that I think it will have the biggest impact in this scenario of demand-driven co-creation approaches, okay? That we said that we were going to focus on them. So far, I've been complaining and being on the negative side, so to say. I was trying to motivate why we are here in this presentation, why we are talking about this, but we want to be now into the more optimistic side. We want to see what solutions could we put in place. And again, what we believe is that this is a complex problem. If it has not been solved before, it's because, among other things, it is very complex. So we don't expect to be simple solutions to this. We don't expect that there's just one solution, one silver bullet. We think that there need to be like specific solutions for different pain points, so to say, and that this is more a kind of ecosystem-driven change of mind rather than just one organization stating what they think is good. Okay, so that's why we wanted to involve you into this conversation from the beginning. What we have been doing from Tiplement, okay, regarding the last point that I mentioned, linear procurement of innovation instruments. So what I mentioned before were the PCPs and the PPIs. This is the prototypical approach from the European Commission, where you put a challenge in phase one, you publish a tender, then you select, say, 4 suppliers where they are going to work in the solution design, basically to produce a concept node that is paper. Then you select, say, 3 for the next phase, that is the development of a prototype, and then you take 2, which are going to do an implementation with real end users. Okay, so this is PCP, and PCP is basically more a procurement for research, and the PPI is more geared to this commercialization. A lot of projects are PCP because it has more traction, because the funding, to be honest, the funding is much higher than PPIs. Okay. And again, if you have participated in one of these, you can imagine how burdensome is this. Usually it takes between 3 years, 4 years, and usually they capture around 3, 4, 5 million euros. Okay, which for a digital solution is a killer. It's too much money, too much time to deliver something. When you start, basically, when you propose something, and when you finish, there is a technological cycle. So basically, what you propose is already outdated when you finish. So what are we doing within Innovio? We are taking the same concept, but we have made it much leaner. So we just start again with an identification and method. So this process is conceptually very the same as the previous one, but you will see that here that both start with identification of a need. But here, when we match make with solvers, we only select one. Okay, we only select one solver, and then again they do a co-creation together. This co-creation can be much cheaper. In our case, we are supporting this with a 65k euros for the co-creation. Okay, so instead of doing so many people working on the same project, we just take this guy, the innovative SME, to work together with the challenger in this co-creation, and then we evaluate the co-creation. That usually can take like 9 months, 12 months, what we think is reasonable for a relatively small project. One innovation that we do compared to PCPs is that we also deliver legal expertise, okay? In order that if the co-creation is successful, the legal expert can support the challenger to launch a procurement, okay? So this is a real-life project. This is working right now. We just selected the challenges of the public organizations. We got 15 of them. We are, after the summer, we are going to launch the search for solvers against the challenge, and then they will do the co-creation. Now, one of the innovations beyond the legal expertise support is that we have asked for a letter of commitment from the challenger management, top management, stating that if the co-creation is successful, they are willing to launch a procurement. They are willing, or even they are committed. The stronger the commitment, the more chances to move and to be selected and to receive this funding to carry out the whole process. Okay, that meant that we got far less proposals to join our process from the public organizations, because to get a commitment, to get any kind of signature from a public organization for a big organization is an endeavor. It's not easy, meaning that some people were interested into joining our program, but because they couldn't get the commitment of the organization, they didn't apply. But what we think, again, thinking in impact first approaches, we say, okay, if we want to have a procurement at the end, we need to have the commitment of the organization at the beginning. That is something that we want to test in this project in Innovaya. Okay, so the public organization needs to show their commitment to get till the end, because a lot of times what we see is that this is the innovation unit that is pushing this process, but something is missing. This bridge is missing because sometimes the public organization top management or the organization top managers, they were not aware of this. Okay, so let's see how it goes. We are now innovating in the innovation instrument. We are now meta-innovating, and we'll be very happy to show the analysis that we are doing, the results after this experimental meta-innovation exercise. So this is what we are trying to do regarding linear procurement of innovation instruments. Another thing that we are doing, as I said before, this for TBiomet is very, very important. We are very happy that we have in the Procure4Health, and we'll talk about this in a minute, a platform to push this topic. We are having in Murcia, we are located in Murcia in Spain, a conference in November specifically to talk about this. We will only talk about how to maximize chances that a successful innovation gets impact. So I will kindly ask you to book your agendas just in case you guys are interested. We will be sharing more information, the registration, everything shortly. But we just want to announce it here that we are, this for us is so important that we are creating a conference specific on that. And as I say, part of the Procure4Health project, we have a number of people that they already believe that this is useful and interested. You can see some of them here, and we will be very honored and happy for you, whoever is interested, to join us in this endeavor. Basically with this, I'm finishing my my presentation. Not sure if you guys have any questions before Maria was saying to put your questions in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen if there are any questions. I know that people in this kind of webinars are very shy. Okay, so I don't expect that that all of you put a question, but not sure if everything was clear, or if you have any questions, any proposals, or anything. This is a good time to put in them. Otherwise, we continue. Maria is going to explain what is the what are the next steps, how you can also join us in this quest for making innovation more impactful. I don't see questions, Maria, so
yeah, nobody sent any question yet, but if somebody wants to say something, you can raise your hand and we will give you the floor.
Right, let's give them another opportunity at the end of your talk. So just start with yours.
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Wait a minute. There is one question, Maria. Can you charge a success case using this Innovaya? Sandra Lopez, I'm not sure to get you understand. Maybe, Maria, do you mind open the mic for Sandra Lopez?
Yes.
Sandra, would you mind explaining a little bit more your question? Maria is opening the mic. She's still with the mic. Sandra Lopez.
Hello.
Hello, Sandra. How are you?
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you to be and participate in this webinar that you have invited us. My question is regarding this model that is kind of like a pilot model for procurement, for buying innovation after the project funded anyhow has ended. If you have some examples, because usually when you go to the hospital C-suite, they say that they don't have budget allocated for this type of solutions, that all the budgets are usually assigned to procurement of products. And the examples that we have here in Spain are more connected to that supplier of products, tender of supplier, not connected of buying new solutions by itself.
Right, understood. So thank you very much for the question. I think this is a great question, and this is exactly what we were talking about. Now, remember, we start with the commitment of the organization. This needs to be signed by the top management of the organization, meaning that top management is stating in writing that they commit that if the co-creation is successful, they commit to acquire the solution. Okay, so this is, in our opinion, a huge quality change versus other instruments where basically sometimes top management, they don't even know about that this is going on in their organization, or they just say, okay, let's see what happens at the co-creation, and when the co-creation finishes, then we will see what happens. Okay, let's first do the co-creation. I would say no. When we finish the co-creation, it's too late. Then the valley of death comes, because then the innovation unit is not pushing anymore. Then other people are super busy. They tell you, as you were saying, listen, but this was not in the budget for this year. If they are organizations that they work on budget, yearly budgets, which usually public organizations and big organizations, they work like that. So we are in April. The budget is closed for this year. Let's talk again in November, and we will incorporate that in the budget of next year. And obviously in November, nothing happens. There are a lot of things going on between April and November, and this is, and the souffle goes down, and there is no procurement. Okay, again, we call this the valley of death. Now, so that's why we think that before starting the pilot, and that's why we say we do too many pilots with too little input. We prefer, what we propose is to do less pilots, but with much more impact. And to have much more impact, what we are saying, one of the things that we need to do is to have commitment from the organization, from the top management, from day one. If we don't get that commitment in writing, then we don't start the process. Go ahead, Sandra. Go ahead.
That's what I asked for an example, because that commitment should be compliance with the public procurement law.
Right.
And that's what hospital.
Right. Now I understand your question. Now I understand. Let me finish and see if I can give you an answer. And again, remember that InnoBuyer is a work in progress. Okay. So we are working, we are experimenting as we talk. So now, commitment from day one, we think is necessary, but not enough. What we are going to do also is that we are going to involve top management in the selection of the challenger, and especially during co-creation, we are going to involve very actively. That's what we try to do, that and the innovation unit and the end users interact with top management, but also with IT, with legal, with procurement, so that saying, hey guys, this is going on. And say by the middle of co-creation, if you see that it is going to be very likely successful, we are going to start saying, okay, you need to prepare the others, stakeholders and decision makers, saying, okay, this is coming. So if the project is the co-creation is supposed to be finished in April, say in November, December, the next year, guys, we need to do a reserve in the budget, because this looks very good, and we should have budget ready in case that is totally good, as we say, as we evaluate at the end of the co-creation. Now, what you are saying, our proposal is that we do a standard procurement process. In Spanish is translated directly into English to an open procurement, un contrato abierto. Okay, meaning that it is not only the critical thing here is not that the what we call the solver gets the contract. What is critical is that the challenger incorporates the solution. So the procurement under public law has to be as transparent and giving the same opportunities for everybody. What we say here is that more than a co-creation is more a co-learning exercise, meaning that the challenger, with the learnings that they have acquired during this process, they are in a position to launch a standard procedure because they know much more how much money is value for money, how much the functionality that is required, and they should open, and this is what we want to encourage, they should open for the competition to provide this solution to the market, not only for the innovative SME, but to anyone that can have a solution to that challenge, right? So again, the objective is not to favor this challenger. The objective is that these guys incorporate a solution complying with public law. Okay, so the idea here is that we do a procurement, open procurement for everyone. Obviously, this guy is in a better position, but it still is competitive. Sandra, I don't know if I have answered your question or not.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And of course, we will very happy to give more details. We have experience in a very similar project concept in other projects like In Demand and Cherries, a number of Cascade. This is actually a son of this. Everything started with a project called In Demand, where we were very frustrated of the technology push approach that we did in a previous project. And this is try to make things leaner, but always complying with public law. Okay, the procurement has to be the closer to the standard procurement processes of the organization, the easier it will be. And this is what we believe it will be the bridge. The bridge will be commitment from day one and a lot of interaction with the stakeholders during the co-creation. So these three critical: standard procurement, interaction with the stakeholders during co-creation, and commitment from day one. This is what we expect, again, meta innovation that could help for final impact. Let me see, we have more questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we'll receive another question through the chat, but if I can, I suggest to move forward to the last part of the presentation, and then given we will have another Q&A session after the presentation.
Fantastic.
We will address this question. So please, everybody, please type your question by using the Q&A box. Okay, so everybody can see and we can share the question with all the attendees. So I will share my screen, and then we will address this question. So can you share my screen?
Yes, we can see it, Maria.
Yeah, and a full mode presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I just want to introduce you very briefly the Procure4Health community. So we are here today because we are launching our working group on impactful innovation, and just to give you some details about the community. So our consortium is made up by 33 partners from 15 countries. And we launched the community with 19 Procure4 founding members in June 2022. So the goal of Procure4Health is to create an open community of health and social care innovation procurers in Europe, and to overcome the barriers to adopt innovation and to include the innovation procurement process within the healthcare organization. So now our community is open and free to new members. So if you join us, you will have you can get a lot of benefit. For instance, we have an open capacity building catalog of resources, so curated resources regarding the different phases of the innovation procurement process. So you can register to the platform and have a look at all our our materials within the catalog section. And also you will be able to network and matchmake with other procurers and other healthcare organizations by accessing our community. And you can use our matchmaking tool as well. Also be part of the identification of unmet needs process. So we are now to identify these needs within the working groups we have established so far. So you can be part of this process now by joining the community. And also after the projects, we will extract some learnings about the innovation procurement and to try to contribute to the European, to the policy at European level. So this is the working groups we have defined so far. So we have five working groups ongoing, focused on different topics: digital health, sustainability, precision and predictive medicine, integrated care, and the last one on impactful innovation, launched recently. So the main objective of this webinar today is to show you that we have this platform, so this online community, the Procure4Health community. You can register by using the link you can see in the slide. So I will share with you the link through the chat, and then you will receive a follow-up email with all the information, and the presentation will be also uploaded on our website. So you can register to the platform. It's very easy. It's an easy process. So you just have to create your account and associate your organization to your personal profile. And then the owner of the platform and the management team, we will review your request and accept you and give the level of access you have, because we have different level of access within the platform depending of the type of the organization. So this process will take between 1-3 days, so no more than this. And then when you will have access to the platform, you can go to the working group section and you will see all the working groups that you can join. So you just have to request to join them. But this one, the working group, the Impactful Innovation Working Group, is open for everybody. So you just have to join the working group and you will be part of the group. Okay, so we have also in this section, so when you access to the Impactful Innovation Working Group, you have different section in the navigation bar, such as members of the working groups, organizations, communication, news, events, and so on, and several documents regarding the topic of the working group. So here you will find the event section where you can register to our upcoming events. So as Jorge mentioned before, we will have a conference on impactful innovation in Murcia in November. So you can have a look at the information of this event here. And before we will have in 10 days, we are organizing a working group meeting. So you are invited to join us in this working group meeting where we will move forward to on this topic on impactful innovation concept and the barriers to adopt innovation. So I will also share the link through the chat to you, and you will receive the follow-up email as well. So the main objective of this working group is to increase your motivation, increase the motivation of all the parts involved in the process of innovation procurement, exchange good practice and lessons learned. So if you join us, you will connect with other peers in your same situation, and you will be able to exchange knowledge and lessons learned in process before. Also, you will do more with less, as Jorge mentioned. We want the objective of this working group is to try to overcome the barriers and to increase the chance of the adoption of innovation after beyond pilots. So we will try to waste less money and waste less time to decrease the frustration of the parts involved in the process, and create this new meta innovation culture. So we have to innovate in the innovation procurement processes. So that's all from my side. If you have any question, now is your turn. So let me see if you send any question.
Maria, there are a number of questions. They are both in.
Yeah, we have one question
in the Q&A and in the chat. Yeah, can you please read the one in the Q&A, and then I'll be connected the ones in the chat. I will be giving an answer.
Of course, Jose Verdu has a question. The question is, how and when do you recommend to define and measure success criteria so the procurer can proceed with the tender process?
Right. For me, the success criteria, they have to be very clear when the challenge is published. For example, if we take into as a reference this InnoBuyer approach, when we publish the challenge, the challenger has to state the success criteria. This is basically for two main reasons. One is that solvers, they need to understand what are the rules of the game. They need to understand if they are capable to reach to these indicators with the budget and time that they are allocated. So one of the things that we work with, and that's the added value that the organizations like TPMet can provide in this type of cascade funding project, is that we coach them to set up good indicators of success. Okay, and one of the so that's the reason number one. Reason number two is that at the evaluation time, it cannot be, so yeah, it's good enough, or not, it's not bad enough, because for whatever reason you don't want to follow. So you need to state the indicators when you publish the challenge in this kind of scenarios. So from the very beginning, because again, the rules of the game for solvers to apply, and also that you don't leave it till the end with arbitrary criteria for the evaluation. Now, I want to put prototypical examples. I'm going to share my screen. So as I said before, we are, this InnoBuyer is the son of a project that is called In Demand. And here in this page that I'm going to share now in the chat, and you will get that in the materials that we are going to share after this webinar, you can see here examples of challenges that we have been supporting to create in demand. And here you can see what are the KPIs, and they have to be objective. So when we publish the challenge, okay, this is called Gravity, and again, this is all public. You can find it here. They are in the in-demand approach. Again, we will share all the links. So this is a prototypical an example of a challenge that we have published under the in-demand project, with the name, the pitch, the motivation, the objective, and the functional scope, the ethical and data protection, technological, and here we have the KPIs, okay? All of them quantitative, okay? And the same with other projects. Here in this case, it was an artificial intelligence related one. What we care was the success rate, okay? But here we have done more than 20 challenges, supported them, and we will share with you all the information that is there, okay? So answering your question is, we recommend to fix them at the beginning, and they have to be very quantitative, okay? So that when they are evaluated, when at the time of the evaluation, it's a yes or no answer, very clear. And so also there are no excuses for the organization not to follow up. So Jose, I hope I have answered your question. If not, please repeat it in the chat. Now, I have made a number of, I have been collecting the other questions. I think you can see them in the screen. So basically, Jordi Jordà is stating, he says, usually in big European projects, once the money is finished, continuing is really difficult. to raise a similar amount of money by participants themselves is quite hard. Okay, so that's why, again, we insist on commitment from the organization from day one, because if they cannot have this this budget to procure for the solution, why do we start and waste everybody's time, money, and resources? So you need to know from the beginning that you can afford the solution if there is a successful pilot. Okay, so then and again, you need to allocate that budget early enough so you can have a smooth transition between successful evaluation of the pilot and procurement. Okay, so this is one thing. And maybe your comment, Jordi, was because if you have participated in PCPs where they have these huge budgets, and maybe the PCP enables you to develop a Ferrari-like solution, but then your organization can only afford a Volkswagen Golf. Okay, so in those situations, and I think that the instrument is very perverse in this case and distort everything. In those situations, one KPI should be money, cost. Say, okay, you have to deliver a solution within this cost range that I can afford. If not, it is not a valid solution for me. I cannot afford a Ferrari, so don't build a Ferrari, even if you have the money. So spend the money in something that I can afford, so you can reduce costs because you have done your homework during co-creation. Again, Jordi, I hope I have answered your question. If not, please let us know in the Q&A, and we can open the mic for you. Okay, I'm going to move on. If you want to reply to my answer, please state it in the Q&A. Now, Rachel, she says that they have seen that a lot in Wales, so they are looking at national in the NHS pathways to solve it. So Rachel, we really love to hear about your progress, our non-progress with the NHS. I don't know, again, if you want to share if you have any concrete proposal to NHS or how you are working with that. Again, if you're happy to share with us, please state it in the Q&A or in the chat. Better in the Q&A because it's easier for us to follow up there. Now, Michael says that same situation, super successful co-creation. Even if they are in the EAC, that for me, the EAC is the Champions League of small and medium enterprises, they stay with them. So yeah, this is, so they stay with them even if having problems. Okay, I don't get that, this last sentence, Michael. If you can please rephrase, or if you can want to speak over this. Now, Miko, successful implementation usually takes more time than anticipated. Total failures are very seldom. Okay, so that's, there are two things here. One is that successful implementation take more time, resources than expected. Okay, but this is again a process that we can learn, this kind of meta innovation. And the idea here is that maybe the first time things don't go as good as we all hope and plan for. But if we systematically incorporate these processes in the organizations, and then we learn, keep the know-how year after year, the idea is that we get better, and hopefully they are on time, and hopefully they are with enough resources, so failures reduce over time. But what is important for me is critical to have the commitment and the culture of saying, if we start something, we have to finish it. Okay, if not, we wait, or we don't start. We wait till the time is ripe. But if we go till the end. We do word to word, and the end means acquisition, implementation, scaling up, support, impact. So the goal is not acquisition. That's another thing. The goal is not acquisition. The goal is impact. You can acquire it and then leave it in a corner. No. Impact means that you acquire it, you deploy, you train, you capacitate your end users, and becomes a standard solution within your organization. Okay. What happens is that now the gap, the value of that is between successful piloting and acquisition, adoption. But acquisition is not the end of the road. We are just fighting, so to say, milestone after milestone. Again, Miko, if you want to expand this, please let us know. Javier Herrero says that he says one of the problems is capital risk. Okay. Here they complain about the facility to raise money compared, for example, in the US. Well, apart from agreeing with Javier that this is a reality, okay, it's not a question of opinion. It's much easier to raise money in other latitudes. What I would like to say, and this is something we would like to investigate also in the working group, is like how private capital can help to move between 7 and 9, this gap in TRLs, okay? So if you're familiar with, for example, in some national programs, like in Spain, there are also innovation procurement programs, but they all finish at 7. But then the challenger organization can only procure for a 9. So how do we fill this gap? And one option is private funding, venture capital or seed funding, whatever. And the idea is to present the project to the investors, but not just the small and medium enterprise, the startup, whoever, but both the challenger and the solver telling the investor, like, I asked for this, the results are okay, we like them, but they're in a 7. The company here is interested in moving from 7 to 9, but they need to fill this gap. Are you investor interested in funding this? In my opinion, if there is a private investor that has to choose between an opportunity of one company that with no clear customer engagement as the other one, I will choose the one that is closer to the customer, and the customer itself is telling me that they are interested in the solution. Okay, so we are investigating that. This is actually one of the opportunities that we want to put to deal with in the conference in November. We are going to have kind of more experience sharing in the first day, but in the second day, we are going to have breakout tables. When exactly right now we are talking with one regional healthcare service here in Spain, where we have exactly this situation. And we are going to have one table with the different stakeholders, the regional, the healthcare organization, the solution creators, and then say investors or any other actor from the ecosystem that they can help to say, okay, we have this challenge now, this meta challenge. We need to move from 7 to 9. How can you say private money can help? Okay, so yes, we are working on this. Now, Jose Verdun.
Jorge, we just replied this question before.
So, okay.
Jose sent it by the Q&A box.
How and when you recommend to define the measure criteria? Okay, so Maria, I don't know if we have.
I think that we don't have any more questions.
Any more questions? So let me just finish this. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to put here in the chat this link of the in-demand challenges. If you want to see samples or to what we have been working with in the wait a minute.
We can also, Jorge, we can also share the links, these useful and helpful links from the follow-up email after the session as well.
Right, we will do so. As Maria is saying, we will be sharing everything. I don't want to take much of your time. I think we are a little bit late,
yeah,
but I want to thank you. Yeah, but just let me tell you that we are having this series
of webinars.
This working group webinar in 2 weeks. I really would love to see you there again. This one is going to be much more practical than this one. This one kind of motivational and theoretical, so to say. So if you want to have more hands-on exchanges, please follow up with us in 2 weeks. And Maria, I don't know if you want to.
No, this as you mentioned, Jorge, this next working group meeting will be more interactive because it will be a meeting, not a webinar. So we will kind to address the topic in a small group of people, I guess. So I think that we will be moving forward with this the Impactful Innovation Working Group.
Okay, so yeah, let's
Yeah.
move it. Let's have more impactful innovation between all of us. Have a nice day.
Yeah, okay, so you will receive the email, follow-up email with all the information. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. See you soon.
Bye.